Forget everything you're seeing in the usual global hotspots for a minute. There is a high-stakes game of chess unfolding quietly in the silence of the Arctic. And in this game, the pieces are allies, and the prize, well, the prize is the future of the North itself. Let's break down the building of what's being called the North Atlantic Wall. The day is February 7th, 2026. The place, GIUK, Greenland. Far, far away from the glare of the world's media, a massive shift in the geopolitical landscape has just taken place. You see, for months, the United States has been putting immense pressure on Greenland, seeing it as, a piece of strategic real estate. But today, that whole approach just slammed into a wall. Now, on the surface, this looks like standard diplomacy. Just a couple of new offices, right? Wrong. Underneath, this is a calculated, coordinated countermove. It's basically a political and a physical blockade, and it's designed with one very clear purpose: to put a hard stop to American expansion in the Arctic. So how exactly did they build this North Atlantic Wall? Well, the first pillar was put in place by America's closest neighbor. Canada's move, while it might seem subtle, is the absolute heart of this new strategic shield. This is where it gets brilliant. Canada is essentially weaponizing culture and history. The family ties between Canadian Inuit and Greenlanders go back way before modern countries even existed. So by championing Inuit sovereignty, Canada just completely reframes the entire debate. And this, right here, this is the perfect illustration of that clash. Washington sees a strategic asset, a giant, unsinkable aircraft carrier for military power. But Ottawa, in a total masterstroke of soft power, turns around and says, no, this is about Indigenous rights. It makes any aggressive move from the US look a whole lot like colonial bullying. What Canada has done is create a diplomatic tripwire. By setting up shop right in the capital, any unilateral move the US makes against Greenland now means a direct confrontation with a G7 ally. That so-called northern door the US thought it had, it's just been slammed shut and locked. Okay, so that's part one of the wall. If Canada brought the heart, then France brought the teeth. And their approach is way more direct and a whole lot more confrontational. Let me put it this way. You do not send your top guy for contested zones, a diplomat who handles hotspots like the South China Sea, to open some sleepy Arctic consulate unless you are sending a very, very clear message. France is now officially treating GIUK like a geopolitical flashpoint. And there's that message, loud and clear. This quote from Le Monde is a direct jab at the US administration's very transactional foreign policy. France is basically shouting to Washington and to the entire world that the Arctic is not for sale. Paris is stepping up, positioning itself as Europe's guardian in the north. Think about it. If Greenland falls completely under US control, Europe could lose access to future shipping lanes and, more importantly, the critical rare earth minerals that are going to power the next century. So France is offering Greenland a clear choice, an economic and security alternative. So you've got Canada's soft power shield, and you combine it with France's hard-edged defiance. On their own, they're significant moves, but together they form this incredibly formidable strategic barrier that has just completely upended the geopolitical calculus in the region. But look, it's a fair question, right? How can two small diplomatic outposts really create a wall against a superpower like the United States? Well, the answer is all about geography and the end of a century-long advantage the US has had. For decades, the US has operated from its massive Pacific space base, way up in the far north. The rest of Greenland, especially the capital, GIUK, down in the south, it was basically what you'd call a security vacuum. They could do whatever they wanted with no one looking over their shoulder. Well, that vacuum is gone. It's been filled. These new consulates in the capital mean the US military presence is now effectively sandwiched. Every move they make, every expansion they even think about planning, is now being watched, monitored, and reported straight back to Ottawa and Paris. Their era of unchecked freedom is over. And this is the Pentagon's brand new nightmare. The whole Greenland question has been Europeanized. It's not a simple private conversation between two countries anymore. It is now a global standoff with a bunch of major powers all pulling up a chair to the table in GIUK. But amidst all this great power competition, there is one clear winner emerging. The 56,000 people who actually call Greenland home. They've just been dealt an incredibly strong hand in this poker game. So what's their play? By welcoming Canada and France, Greenland isn't just getting political allies, they're building economic escape routes. If the US ever threatens them with tariffs, Greenland can now just pivot and send its fish and minerals to Canada and Europe instead. It completely neutralizes Washington's biggest economic weapon. This quote from Greenland's biggest newspaper, it just says it all. You can almost feel the sense of relief, the newfound empowerment. The pressure from one single dominant superpower has been replaced by the security of having multiple partners. They're quickly learning how to play the giants against each other. It's masterful. The bottom line is, the real estate model of diplomacy has just suffered a massive, very public defeat. The whole idea that you can just bully or buy your way into controlling a country has been completely rejected, and not by an adversary, but by America's closest allies. And this really is the perfect analogy for the strategic miscalculation here. Washington came in playing Monopoly, trying to buy up properties on the board. But it turns out Canada and France were playing Risk, a global game where the Arctic is a critical, shared space, not just another prize for one player to win. This North Atlantic wall is a clear signal that the era of unchecked American dominance in the Arctic is officially over. And that leaves us with a really critical question. In this new multipolar North, is the United States even prepared for a game where its own allies are now its most formidable opponents?